G'day folks, I'm James Ferrari. I'm in the Barossa Valley, South Australia. I am a massive fan of Brentford Bees, West London superstars. I'm on the Drunken United football show with the two Sams because, let's face it, something's got to make them look good. Cheers from here, and you're listening to the Drunken United football show.
I'll tell you, there's not much for me to go ahead and hit the post. Sam, I'd let you talk, but Jane kind of took up all of our time. Let's go ahead and start the show.
Bees dick.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Smell the Malort. Looks great in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the Drunken United Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League is told by two common American schmucks. I'm your host, Sam Houston, and across the way from me, the snow-traveled man, Mr. Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Once I got off of the I-95 corridor, everything kind of loosened up. It was fine. But this morning was a little dicey.
Yeah, I could imagine it
to
was.
say the least.
Hey, remember, 60 degrees and we were wearing T-shirts the day prior. Fucking 6, 8, 10, whatever the hell they want to say it was. Whatever magical number they want to make up in their brain. There was a lot of fucking snow on the ground in our neck of the woods. That's for damn sure.
My mother said she got about 10 in Bowie. Mel said y'all got about 8 over there. We got about 4 up here.
I tell you what, it was very baffling to wake up in the morning and go, what the fuck just happened out there?
Right? That, and apparently y'all had a giant come through the neighborhood because there was a old giant's toothpick laying in the middle of the road.
Yeah, tree down in the middle of the road, so we couldn't even left if the snow was off the ground anyways. It would not have meant one single bit. We're recording at DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and share with a footballing friend. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It's at DUfootballshow on all the social medias and DUfootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email. You can always try to check out some of our sweet swag at the DU Drip Shack, which on those social medias, that link can be found in the bio. And then if you want to support the show further, it's patreon.com/DUfootballshow. For one beautifully brilliant tier of just $5 a month, you get both of our extra shows, Sound Check, which is our actual sound check, catching up from the weekend, checking our levels and all that stuff. And then Injury Time, which is our preview show, where we go over what we think is going to happen at the weekend.
And oh boy, was it a sound check today.
And we were fucking wrong about a lot of shit.
Yeah, we were. Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we vow to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Boys and girls, it's a new year. Whiskey Advocate completed its top 20 of 2021. Mr. Graham and I have our hands on every fucking bottle on that list. So,
all 20 of them.
Mr. Graham, why don't you go ahead and kick off the list for us with tonight's entry?
I will, absolutely. So this is the Andalusia Striker. This is number 20 on this year's list. It is 100 proof. Will run you about $55 or so on the shelf. Right around there. It was rated 93. It's an American single malt. Smoky whiskey has traditionally been the domain of Islay Scotch, but Andalusia makes its own version in Texas Hill Country. Rather than using peat, the malted barley is treated like brisket, bathed in oak, applewood, and mesquite smoke. It has a caramel nose, and a sip reveals notes of Irish breakfast tea, pine, and vanilla. Caramel, along with a solid hardwood smoke and mineral notes. The finish is long and mentholated, reminiscent of an herbal aperitif. A big, delicious Texas whiskey. What are your thoughts on this, Sam?
You definitely get the barbecue smoky stuff without it being obviously barbecue. I even get a little bit of Band-Aid. It actually has a little bit of that Isla kind of taste to it for me. Personally, good, not great. I can see why it's on the list. It's got it's an interesting profile. It's not blowing my skirt up though. You know, it's good, but I'm not like, holy crap, I need to go buy a bottle of this right now. Other than the fact that it was on the list and we ran out and bought it.
I don't mind it. It's good. I don't know that I'd seek it out necessarily. I actually get a little bit of dark fruit behind some of that barbecue smoke as well, which is a little strange. Not astringent or bad, but it's a little strange. Maybe some chocolate as well. But yeah, you're right. The mesquite to me really stands out. It really smells and tastes like a barbecue rather than a campfire.
Right. Well,
it's not bad by any means. I don't know that it's necessarily my cup of tea, but it's good balanced whiskey. I mean, it does what it says on the can,
right?
You know, which is all you can ask them to do.
Well,
it's all right.
It's single malt. It's barley. You can definitely tell that. It's certainly not a young whiskey, so it doesn't have that over exposure to wood. But it's interesting. I can say that it's worth the try simply because it's. I know there's an Arizona company, Delback, who did something similar, and that was much more pronounced and probably a little more abrasive than this. I think this is a little more refined than that is. It's a very interesting bottle of whiskey. Like I said, it doesn't blow up my skirt, but it's decent enough. I could totally get why it's on the list though, because it's certainly something that's a little bit more groundbreaking and different. Like when you say, okay, where is the line of innovation in the world of whiskey? And really, particularly for American whiskey, it's going to be American single malt because, you know, if it's bourbon, it's got to follow certain rules. If it's rye, got to follow certain rules. If it's wheat, got to follow certain rules. So the American single malt category gives you a little bit more room to play with.
Right, absolutely. Just like the American whiskey category we've talked about many times on this show, where it's not necessarily a legal standard other than it has to be a single malting of barley.
Right. And New American, it does have to, that's something across the board on bourbon, rye, wheat, and American single malt. It all has to see New American white. That's one of the things, whereas regular American whiskey does not have to see New American white. It can be a used barrel if wanted. But again, there's a lot of single malts out there. Like, as far as the American single malt category that goes, that when they use New American white oak, you can taste it. It has that kind of popsicle stick thing going on, and this does not have that at all. Really does not.
And when that happens too, the notes of caramel and vanilla are so pronounced up front that you can't really mistake them. It interacts with the whiskey unlike any other wood in the world in that respect.
Yep. Alrighty. Well then, Mr. Graham, what else do we need to do?
Got to remember to drink responsibly, everyone, please.
Excellent. And over the internet, cheers. There we go.
Cheers, man.
Lovely. You know, I try to stay away from always opening the show with the big clubs because, you know, that gets kind of mundane after a while. But for fuck's sakes, it was 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. So you got to kind of talk about it. Man City 2, Arsenal 1, Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2. Sam, before we even touch on refereeing, before we even go there, because I'm sure you got a lot of thoughts on how this match went down. You guys got into the ring with one of the best clubs in the world, and you threw punch for punch with them, and you took them the distance. Like, it took a decision. That's like, you went 12 rounds, and one of the judges voted for you, and 2 out of the 3 didn't. Like, that's how good of a performance it really was from your club.
Oh, it was excellent. We were on it from the jump. We pressed them. We pushed them as hard as they have been pushed this season, really, other than the defeat to Crystal Palace, where we just couldn't get over the line thanks to, you know, somebody tripping us at the final hurdle. But there's no way we deserve to lose this game. It was fantastic football. It was commitment. It was organization. It was everything that Arsenal have lacked since Arsene Wenger left. And I told you in on injury time last week when we were previewing this game, or on Thursday rather, when we were previewing this game, that a 2-1 defeat where we didn't look out of it, I think we still have turned a corner, right? We
Right.
still, because what's been levied against this young Arsenal side is that we haven't been able to play still with the big boys. It's we beat Norwich, we beat Brentford, or whoever, we the sort of middling and bottom tier kind of clubs at the moment.
Except you didn't beat
But
Brentford.
we haven't done it against the big boys, right? And
Right.
a narrow loss to United. Ronaldo obviously getting 2 goals in that game a couple of months ago, and they were a side that was hurting and it still is hurting, and kind of felt more damning than this defeat did, if you will. But this one, we've got a lead that was taken through a brilliant team goal. I mean, we were, I said to you last season a couple of times where we looked very, very passive, very boring. We would never skip a player with a pass to try to shift the defense. We did that 3 times in that one move in this game, and it showed. The whole defense shifted both times, and Nathan Ake ended up losing track of Bukayo Saka, and he ends up getting the goals. A great pass in from Odegaard, or from Tierney rather. Odegaard found Tierney really well with his run, and Lacazette made a great run to take the other center back. I think it was Diaz away from where Saka was and kind of open up that space for him to drift into. And then he took his chance. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league at the moment on form this season. And really, even at the end of last season, had a great Euros. Bukayo Saka, he's been phenomenal, and another youth academy product performing, and it's brilliant to see.
All right. So now that being said, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the officiating. Because how in the world,
12th player?
How in the world was that not a penalty on Ederson when he went into Odegaard? Because even if he had gotten the ball, you know how he would have gotten the ball? By going through Odegaard's foot. It's the only way he would have touched that ball. The ball was on the inside of Odegaard, and you could. I know they want to do the clear and obvious. It's you see the ball go shooting away. You see Ederson go through the leg. Like, it's clearly obvious that he didn't get the ball. Like, there's no way he got the ball.
No, but this is a goalkeeper that was allowed to rugby tackle Ryan Fraser a couple of weeks ago. Remember, I'm not really one to go with all the conspiracy theory shit and all that kind of stuff.
Sammy, if you like, I can mail you the documents.
I'm starting to think I need to read the
documents right here, baby. It says it. It says it all. And I told you before, Sam, in the documents. It's right here. You guys got into bed thinking that it was going to be for the betterment of your club, and now you're just realizing that those shy comms in Man City, with the forced inoculations, the take the jab, the social credit score, they used you as a stepping stool. And you learned your lesson, Sam. So whenever you want to come over to my side of things, start reading the documents right here. You let me know. You can become a patriot at any time, Sam.
You know what,
anytime.
Sam? Get me a Viking hat and a shawl, and I'm ready to go, okay? I'm in.
And how does one get a Viking hat and a shawl for Sam Graham? Well, you have to do that by going to the DU Drip Shack and supporting patriotism, everybody. That's exactly what you have to do. It's so simple.
Shameless plug. Stuart Atwell, bit of a continuity.
Yeah.
So apparently, he was banned from refereeing. Not banned, but they did not select him for Premier League refereeing for 4 years because he was so bad. And this season, I think, is his first foray back in. He has been on VAR in the Premier League, but he's not been on field in the Premier League for a long time. In his 25 games as a VAR, reffing Arsenal specifically, he's handed out 4 total red cards in his time reffing as a VAR official.
Mm-hmm.
And in 25 games, he issued 3 red cards, recommended 3 red cards to Arsenal players. Out of the 4 total that he has done as a VAR, he has also influenced other games. Yeah, the reason he got banned, I think it was Wolves or somebody. It was an absolutely pitiful display of refereeing. I read about it earlier. I can't remember the specifics. But he doesn't deserve to be a Premier League referee. It is absolutely pitiful. Gabriel, I think the second yellow was a bit harsh. He was running in. His momentum took him into to Jesus. The turn on a dime. And, Gabriel's allowed to run also. He didn't change his direction. If anything, Jesus turned into him. Now, the arms extended a bit and that kind of stuff, okay, you make an argument for it, fine.
Don't give the
Gabe,
referee a decision in that situation. Don't, especially when you just gotten a yellow card for a stupid. The penalty had already been called. The goal had already been scored. He then decided he needed to argue the fact more. At that point, now that's just youth showing, Sam, honestly. That first yellow card is a stupid fucking yellow. Like, if you're going to get that yellow before the kick is even taken, ball's in the back of the net. Decision's been made, son. You don't need to keep fucking talking. Shut up.
Exactly. So that one's stupid. Now, the time in which he ran up the field to say something to Stuart Atwell versus the amount of time that the card was given, I'm not sure what he said, but it obviously couldn't have been good. It seemed he was still about 15 yards away from him when Stuart Atwell turned and gave him the card. So I'm, how loud he was yelling at him, or whatever. But this is a game where the referee decided to make it about himself.
Right.
City,
unfortunate.
Not 6 total yellow cards to Arsenal players. Obviously, 2 to the same person. Only 2 yellow cards on Manchester City players, and one of them was Rodri for taking his shirt off.
Right.
Celebrating the goal.
Right.
It's at least 3 times. Rodri or Laporte or whoever took Odegaard out, stopped his momentum on a counterattack or a play. Took Saka out once or twice. I believe, wasn't it Martinelli almost got flipped at one point. Was a terrible fucking tackle.
It's been talked about multiple times, most famously first by Smokey after Manchester City beat West Ham 5-0 about 2 seasons ago that we so famously talked about, Mr. Graham. But he had pointed out that middle of the pitch, Manchester City gets away with a lot. And they'll call fouls, but there won't be cards. And it'll be hard fouls in the middle of the pitch that they just get to do 10 of before a yellow card comes out. And it's like, other teams, the guy's second foul gets a yellow card.
It's absolutely fucking ridiculous, the entire thing. It really pissed me off. The referee's inserted himself into the action, and he's ruined the game. It was a good game up to that point. Now, that being said, after the sending off, Arsenal responded really fucking well. Went right down the it wasn't even the sending off yet. Right after the penalty, which also wasn't a fucking penalty.
Oh, no. Nope. Graham, you're fucking wrong there. If you have a handful of somebody's jersey, it's a fucking penalty. And
he's already on the way down.
Has a handful of jersey, though. It's not even.
He dove.
He had a handful of jersey. Don't let the ref make that decision. Don't have a handful of his jersey. If he's fucking diving,
fine.
why are you grabbing him?
Okay, yeah, sure. Don't give the ref a decision to make. He was already on the way down.
Sorry.
He was already on the way down.
I am going to agree with you.
The jersey pull did not affect that play in any way, shape, or form.
I am going to agree with you in the fact that the refereeing was.
If that's the case, then call it on every corner. Call it on every fucking play that ever happens, every free kick.
Hold on. So now that it's happened to your team, suddenly you now want it called on every play? When I called about it last week, you told me to shut the fuck up.
If you're going to enforce that rule, then fucking enforce it.
Okay.
I've been saying the same thing you have.
Look, I'm telling you right now, yes, the refereeing was deplorable. On that play, you are wearing rose-colored fucking glasses. That was absolutely bullshit. He had a handful of his jersey, of his jersey. You're fucking wrong there, Graham. You're very wrong.
Play whatsoever. That didn't affect the play whatsoever. He was already on the way down.
A handful of jersey never affects a play at all. Then, okay.
No, in this case, it didn't. If you watch it again,
okay.
He was already on the way down. He had already stopped his feet and started to fall over.
So other than the fact that Granit Xhaka is then an idiot, are you telling me that he was going, oh, you're falling down. Allow me to grab your jersey and pull you back up?
When the initial contact occurred that Stuart Atwell waved away, told him to get up, he did not go down. He took one more step, stopped his feet, and his toes were still planted. Granit Xhaka's arm was out, yes, and as he fell, he grabbed a handful of shirt. That shirt pull did not affect the play at all. He was already going down. He already gave up on the play and dove.
Don't give the referee the opportunity to make that call then.
That's fine, and I agree with that. Yeah. What I'm saying to you is if that's the case, then the corner where Ruben Diaz was holding Ben White's shirt should have been a penalty too.
And cocaine is a hell of a drug,
If we're talking about shirt pulls, if that's what we're going to do, then let's fucking do it. Or don't call it. It was blatantly disrespectful to the game, and it was the referee inserting himself into the action. That shirt pull did not give Arsenal an advantage whatsoever. Bernardo Silva was already on his way down. He dove.
If I recall correctly, Producer Mel, if there was the Brentford game with Everton when when Solomon Rondon was actually being undressed as his jersey was being pulled off, Sam said, you got to get over that shit, son. I believe is exactly what he said to me, was you got to get over that shit,
son.
What
I said is they're not going to call it. Yeah. It deserves to be called. It should be a foul. That should have been a penalty. But they're not going to call it unless you're Manchester City. That's my problem.
Don't you have documents on that?
They're not going to call it unless it's City. Bernardo Silva was already laying on the fucking ground. He was already going down.
I have the documents right here.
Xhaka did not stop him from getting that ball. He stopped himself. Right. And in that vein, it is not a foul, period.
All right, so the more important thing here you need to do right now, Mr. Grabe, is I believe you have a shot of Malort you need to take.
Well, I'm not done yet. The boys, I'm very proud of the boys. Passion, determination, organization, drive. It was awesome. Gabriel Martinelli was fantastic again. Alexandre Lacazette was fantastic again. Martinelli really should have had a goal immediately after the penalty. He clipped the outside of the post. It looked well wide from the television angles. They finally showed from kind of behind him, and it actually clipped the outside of the post. When he had that open goal, the defensive mix-up where I think it was Diaz, maybe Rodri, headed over Edison, and Ake cleared off the line. Martinelli fired it back in, and the goal was gaping. I mean, he should have scored, absolutely, but it hit the outside of the post. It was fantastic, but a wonderful performance, and I can happily say that we have turned a corner. Now, I had to get my lovely assistant to bring me this because when the theme song was running, I realized this is the one thing I forgot to bring down. Was this because I don't think we fucking lost. If anything, it should have been a 2-2 draw because that penalty should have been to Odegaard. So I take this shot under protest of Stuart Atwell. Just like his refereeing, it doesn't get any better.
So what I was going to do there, Mel, was have him take the shot and then let him say the inspirational words of the team's looking a lot better. I was going to set him up for that, but he just, 4 years of doing this fucking show and he still doesn't know that I'm going to set him up to fucking be successful. But that's okay.
He's distraught. Just let it go.
Yeah.
I like to end it on a.
You need to get over that shit.
Speaking of being fucking distraught, both Chelsea and Liverpool, because, Liverpool went, oh, wait, hold on here. Chelsea's going to have some pregame drama. We got to have pregame drama, too. Apparently, Lukaku doesn't like playing for anybody at all. He hates fucking everybody, and he loves to tell the fucking press about it. So he decided to do that, and then Tuchel, doing the only thing Tuchel can do, is fucking remove him from the squad. Not when you want to, because it's the most fucking important game of the season for you at this point. You have to fucking bench him. Then you find out right before the match, you're not going to have your starting goalie or starting center back, Liverpool. They both got the vid.
Yeah. So Tuchel, I think, could have left him on the bench for an emergency, maybe brought him on for a late cameo to send a message. I don't think he needed to drop him from the whole squad. I also think a lot of this kind of got blown out of proportion, and the media has a lot to answer for here. Why would this shit leak 24 hours before their game? You know what I mean? Like, why would they do this just before this happened? I mean, I think there's a little bit of bias in that, a little bit of media agenda in that. But also, I think Lukaku was a bit in the heat of the moment. You know, the Inter fans kind of turned on him when he said he was leaving and wanted to go home, wanted to go back to Chelsea, where he started his English career. I think he was more trying to adhere himself to the Inter fans. Why he cares, I don't know. I think Tuchel, could have buried it from the beginning, and just, he enjoyed his time there. He won a league title. The fans loved him. I'd miss that too. That kind of stuff. Like, he could have just buried it from the start, but instead chose to take a petty direction. And now, he never Lukaku now never specifically called out Tuchel, never really called out his tactics or his system or whatever. He just kind of said, I really enjoyed that system. I was playing really well. And then a lot was read between the lines here. And I think he's being, kind of made a bastard out of in this situation.
Lukaku has also famously never been happy anywhere. It's always been a thing. Always been a thing with him.
He's definitely been a grass is greener kind of guy, for sure. But this shouldn't overshadow what a fucking cracking game this was.
Holy fuck. Well, honestly, what a cracking first half it was, because the second half was meh.
Well, there was still some decent football, and I think one Benjamin Mendy save that was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Or Edouard Mendy, Benjamin Mendy's in prison.
Yes.
Edouard Mendy.
Yes.
Fantastic save he had from, I think it was a free kick. But it was absolutely brilliant. Mane could have been sent off after 20 seconds. Probably should have been sent off after 20 seconds.
Yeah, again, you wonder what is that color of the card if it's later in the match, if it's not the first 5 minutes. In this instance, the first 30 seconds. But yeah.
What may have saved him also is he was looking at the flight of the ball the entire time, but I've been in that position. He knew what the fuck he was doing.
Oh yeah.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Laying down authority early because you do that kind of shit because the next time there's a ball coming up in the air over there, that defender's going to take he's going to take a step off you. He's going to let you win that one in the air.
Problem was, it's Cesar Azpilicueta, and he doesn't know how to.
Yeah, that's very true.
He's had his arm wrapped for 7 years. He's had a wrist injury.
Yeah, Jesus. But then turns around and gets the goal, and I mean, honestly, he gets that goal, and then Mane gets a darling of a goal. I mean, Salah gets a darling of a goal, and you're just kind of like, okay, well, this is over. I was actually texting. I was texting our boy Barnaby, who's a big Chelsea supporter. I was like, yeah, it's a 2-horse race now. Like, your team's out of the title hunt. That's it.
Yep.
Wrong. Right. Apparently,
So
Chelsea saved all their playing for the last 5 minutes of the first half.
Well, if you look at the one Trent Alexander-Arnold clearance as well, that carooned off of whoever it was, Virgil van Dijk maybe, I think it was his own player, as he was standing next to maybe N'Golo Kante. Somebody was trying to close him down. Ball carooned back into the middle to Pulisic, who was on his own on 7 minutes, just a minute and a half prior to Mane's goal. And Kelleher was brilliant off his line. I mean, it was fantastic goalkeeping. But in that situation, you should fancy Pulisic to score any time.
Oh yeah,
right. And he didn't. Obviously, he had it taken off his foot by Kelleher again with some fantastic goalkeeping. But then a minute and a half later, Mane scores. You think, oh fuck, it is not going to be Chelsea's day today, right?
Right.
They just had this brilliant chance. Then almost the same thing. Interesting choice from Chalobah to, head the ball when it was below knee level.
Right. Try to just clear it with your leg, man. Just clear it with anything, not your head.
I'm not sure. Like, the ass end just fell out of the ball and it dipped because he started bending for it early and then it just fell out. And that is terrible. But Mane did really well. Took it after seeing what happened to Pulisic, obviously. Took it very wide of Mendy and was able to fire home past Azpilicueta. Probably because Azpilicueta saw 3 balls after being elbowed in the fucking face after 20 seconds. Lukaku would have been proud of Mane's elbows in that situation, I'm sure. And I'm sure those elbows look really good over there, and he's really wish he was on the same team as those elbows as well. But then Salah, I mean, what can you say? that the little stop start, the little dummy he does,
Mhm.
where because he wants to cut onto his left foot. As soon as he does that, Marcos Alonso is done.
Yep.
He's absolutely burnt at that point because he has that little hesitation, and Salah turns it on, bang, the afterburners, and there's no catching him. Still gets it onto his left foot and puts it near post above Mendy. It was fantastic. You can't call it a dink because there was so much pace to it, but it's reminiscent of, honestly, it was reminiscent of Lionel Messi. It was absolutely fucking fantastic.
And that goal was pretty brilliant. And it might have been the best goal of the match. If it wasn't for one Mr. Kovacic. Holy fuck! He was stepping back and watching the ball. Like, if you watch how he made that volley, it's not just the fact that he does the volley and puts it in the back of the net, up in the upper 90s, rips a hole through it. It's as the ball's coming in the air, you're watching him take small steps backwards, still set his feet, still follow through it. I mean, that was just, holy crap, what a strike.
And the way he hit it, his standing leg almost came off the ground as well. It was almost like, you remember a very famous goal from a long time ago. It was different skill, but kind of similar. Paulo Di Canio for West Ham. It gets played on every goal reel where he jumps in the air and volleys with no feet on the ground. As the ball's coming diagonal to him, he opens it. He's on the left side, opens his body up, jumps, and volleys with his right foot into the far side. Beautiful goal. Absolutely fantastic. Kovacic kind of did the same thing, except he was standing still.
Yeah.
Where it just kind of, the way in which he got over the ball, it was excellent. He got lift on it, and then the ass end just fell out again. You know what? Rumor has it Chalobah is still crawling around trying to find that ball, trying to head it out. It hit the inside of the post. It had everything you wanted. Then we also got what I love. You remember John Madden always saying, and especially in the movie The Replacement, when a linesman scored, he goes, love it when the linesman scored. Then you get a fat guy celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here, R.I.P. John Madden, by the way, here you get the
Several was Chris Berman in The Replacements.
Person that doesn't score many goals celebration. Like, it goes away doing one of these. Like, I do that all the time. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're fucking fronting right now, and it's we can see it's funny, but chill, relax.
Yeah. Now, Sam,
even Pulisic afterwards was asked about it. He said, "Your goal was very good." The interviewer said, "Your goal was very good. It was excellent. It was great skill. Blah 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 blah." Which it was. Just a few minutes later, Conte, kind of playing a hopeful ball, had to because he was being closed down, and the ball bouncing. Pulisic takes it in his stride, still bouncing, but a little bit lower, and with his left foot just bangs it over Kelleher. It was fantastic goal as well. I mean, all four goals in this match were pretty damn good. But he asked him, he said, "Your goal was really good. It's a problem. Nobody's going to remember it." The interviewer said that to him, and he goes, "It was in the same game as Salah's and really Kovacic's."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, he'll probably never score. He never has and never will score a better goal in his life."
Oh, Mel.
To kind of give him the underhanded, kind of dig there as well.
Hey, producer Mel. Now, what Madden would say is, now here's a guy that is confusing his big men commentators from different movies. So I did the video games, and I was also on, on Sunday Night Football. And then you got over here, and you'd be drawing a circle around Chris Berman and go, he's a guy that was on ESPN, and he did the movie. And not me, but that's okay. So here's a guy over here on the Zoom, a micro on the other side, doesn't know what he's doing. He certainly doesn't deserve a turkey leg, that's for damn sure. But you know who does deserve a turkey leg? Kovacic. Kovacic, he was the man of the match. He was all over the place. I mean, he was running here, running there, he was running through there, he scored the goal, he did all these crazy things. That's what he would probably do, Sam, something like that.
I'm Googling it right now.
It's Chris Berman, and he's in the booth with the Native American inmate that's doing the color with him.
Chris
Trust
Berman.
me.
Isn't he one of your favorite people?
You just fucked the movies up.
Yeah.
That's not The Replacements, my friend.
No.
That's The Longest Yard. With
Longest
Adam
Yard,
Sandler.
yes.
Ooh, Ooh.
All right, so I fucked up the movies,
Okay.
but you know
So
I didn't
John
fuck up Madden.
was in the replacements, and Mel, get the calendar out and mark it down. I got a reference. I made a reference, and Houston didn't fucking
No,
get it.
here's the terrible part. He said the replacements, and I also pictured the longest yard.
I'm fucking winner chicken dinner right now. Mark it down twice with
That's
two
right.
asterisks.
You
This
know,
is
I'll just edit this out of the show.
Now, here's a guy that really thinks he knows what he's talking about, even though 90% of the time he doesn't, and just likes to run his mouth a lot. He's got really kind of coiffed hair, and it's over here, and it's over there, and it's kind of all over the place. And, you know, he definitely doesn't deserve the big turkey leg, that's for sure. You got to save those for the big guys. You know, the big linemen. That's who's got to get that turkey leg. You hear what I'm saying?
Hey, well, listen, what we can agree on is that as he was backing up, you know, he backed up to get good leverage on the ball, Sam, and then boom! It's in the back of the net. What are you going to do?
It's okay. It's okay. You got to get a little bit more crazy. You got to work on your Madden there, kid. I expect better from you.
Okay.
You know what? This match doesn't hurt either, but it certainly didn't seem to help either as well, especially considering that City won.
Listen, with City winning and now having a 10-point lead, I think it is, maybe 11 actually, I think the league's done. I think it's over. I think this hurt both of them. Because City picked up points on both. Now they both play City again, but it is a 10-point lead on Chelsea and an 11-point lead on Liverpool. Liverpool do have a game in hand, but they needed these 3 points to win that game in hand, and then you're only 5 points back. That's a possibility. Win that game in hand, you're still 8 points back. Nah, I don't think City's losing 3 more times.
Couple of matches out there that actually ended up having a lot of scoring, even though it seemed like one team was really in control, but then somehow decided to fuck it off and almost lose. West Ham 3, Palace 2, Brighton 3, Everton 2. West Ham do it again. Like 2 quick minutes, 2 quick goals, like boom, hoop. What's going on here? Oh, you want to fuck off for a few minutes? You're in control? No, you're not. We're up 2-0.
Yeah, it was another lively start to a game with involving Palace, though. I mean, they hit the post in the first 45 seconds. It was a great move. Got terribly unlucky. It was end-to-end stuff there in the opening. Both teams had chances, and it didn't really calm down until Antonio dove in on a great Benrahma cross that was right there in the old corridor of uncertainty, as we like to say, where the keeper doesn't know whether to stay or go. And he just flung himself at it. He got a good stud to it and got enough on it that Guaita couldn't react in time. At that pace from that close, he did what he could. He got a hand to it, but it just didn't get enough of a hand to make it relevant. Still ended up in the back of the net. 3 minutes later, Declan Rice found Manuel Lanzini with a good but not really dangerous square ball. He was outside of the box. There was 2 defenders on him. It was kind of a nothing pass. Maybe circles around, recycles the ball out to the outside. On the other side, switches play, but he didn't. He fucking turned the magic on. He rounded one player, had a little bit of a juggle, and then he volleyed from 13 to 14 yards out. It was absolutely beautiful. It was fantastic.
And then, of course, they eventually go up 3-0. And the funny part is you're watching that match, and West Ham's up 3-0, and Palace probably the better side. Palace probably with the better opportunities. Yeah. It was just Palace just couldn't put the ball in the net.
Well, and that's really the next sentence I had. It's really funny about it is it was also the person that gave the penalty away.
I can hear him cracking
was
a little.
Mr. Penalty himself, Luka Milivojevic. 100% from the spot as far as I can remember. Maybe he's missed 1 or 2, but it was him that gave away the penalty. He claims it hit him kind of here, not his bicep, but the replay kind of showed otherwise. To be fair.
Yeah.
And Palace, as you say, like I said, the next sentence I have written down here, just on my notes, was they did not deserve to be 3-0 down. But that's how the fucking cookie crumbles sometimes,
Yeah.
It's, Leicester, when they won the title, you beat them to shit. They'd sit back and sit back and sit back, and then bang, you're 2-0 down on a total of 9 touches down the field.
Right.
You're like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? And that's what West Ham did to them. But they didn't let their heads drop. That's another thing about Palace under Vieira.
Yeah.
They didn't let their heads drop. They came out after halftime, and it was a more of the same. It was a bit open to begin with, but then Palace started controlling the play again.
Sorry, there you got me right on the sip.
And we both sipped at the same time.
couple of great goals there, right at the death, and hell, almost a third one too. I mean, that overhead kick from Mateo, not that far off. That was pretty fucking close. No offense to West Ham in this. I know West Ham kind of needs those 3 points a whole lot more than Palace does if we look at the greater whole of the league, but. Man, I kind of really wanted to see that finish in a 3-3 draw and just have Palace kind of come out of nowhere and score 3. And it was of no fault of West Ham's, but more deserving to Palace.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame they started scoring so late. I really believe if that 83rd minute opener from Edouard had actually been scored in the 70th minute and the 65th minute, and they had a little bit more time, I think this would have ended in a 3-3 draw. Yeah. And West Ham were pretty solid for the most part in repelling Palace's advances. But they did have to ride their luck. I think they hit the crossbar. Fabianski just got fingertips to one. You know, they had to ride their luck a bit, but ultimately they got the job done. And under, David Moyes, this has been, what we've come to expect from West Ham.
Yeah, but and also for West Ham, these are the games you got to win. You go to a hard environment, you get a win. This is, Spurs are breathing down your neck for 5th, right? For that guaranteed spot in Europe, and we, you have to assume at some point Manchester United's going to be in the discussion, even though it certainly didn't happen this fucking week. So for West Ham, when you get the chance to get 3 points, you got to fucking get it. Doesn't matter how it happened, you got it. That's done. Move on to the next week. Take the fucking points.
Can we also mention Elise's impersonation of Rafinha with that free kick?
Yeah.
I mean, that was absolutely brilliant. In this game, the corridor of uncertainty was very busy in this game.
Yeah.
It was another perfect ball right to the edge of the 6, where the goalkeeper's shit. They're coming in. What do I do? Do I come? Do I go? And ultimately, Fabianski was rooted to the spot again, and it found the far post. It was brilliant. This was a lot of fun to watch.
It was a very fun match.
It wasn't as pretty as Liverpool-Chelsea, but it was fun. It was like street football almost.
Yeah. Well, and we had said when we had previewed this game, we were like, both of us were like, I'm glad this is the NBC primetime game, because if people are just checking this out on a whim and don't know only know the big clubs and are a casual football fan, they're really going to be in for a treat, and they're really going to like this game. And I felt like the game delivered on that.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. It was end-to-end stuff. It was a ton of fun, this game. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it wasn't as pretty as Liverpool-Chelsea. There weren't these sweeping moves and flicks and tricks and stuff, but it was good, solid, hard-nosed fucking street football. Challenges were committed, but they were also fair for the most part. It was a fun watch, this game. I really enjoyed it.
Now, a game that was not a fun watch because it requires the participation of 2 actual football clubs to play would be Brighton and Everton. And, well, Brighton showed up to play. Everton, not so much.
Yeah. For a bit at least. Another early goal this weekend, which seemed to be a bit of a running theme.
A lot of early goals.
The Argentinian man with the Scottish last name slotted home well after Mopé's fine header.
Yeah. It was a gorgeous goal. It was a gorgeous setup.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better headed pass than that. Dan Burn got on the score sheet, his big ass.
Here's a question. Yeah, I mean, Dan Burns, what, like 7'8" and like pale white, like should stick out like a sore thumb. How the fuck is he wide open on the back post with absolutely nobody around him? I mean, legitimately standing by himself.
No idea, but he was. Probably because everybody just said, "I don't want to mark that dude."
Yeah.
Everybody just kind of passed the buck on that one. But what are you going to do? It was a great flick on from Wepu, though. That's exactly what you want your player on the front post to do.
Yep.
Just get
absolutely.
Just a little touch to it. Just skim right off the top of his head, take it away from the defenders, and it happened to find Dan Burn, who didn't really even need to jump.
Yeah, and Wepu's
All he had
starting
to do was put his forehead on it.
Oh, well, again, 8'10.5". Not that hard.
Yeah.
Just stick the old noggin out there. Wepu is really starting to settle in with Basuma, and this was somebody we had talked about at the start of the season. If those two can figure out how to work together as a central midfield, that can really, really help Brighton quite a bit. I think a lot of people are going to look at the penalty miss from Calvert-Lewin and go, he's rusty. When actuality, here's the deception of this match is everybody's going to see that Anthony Gordon scored 2 goals and think he had an amazing match. And everybody's going to see that Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty and had a poor match. Actually, Calvert-Lewin had a very good match. He seemed to be right back into form. Other than missing a penalty, he was right back into form, back to goal, bringing down the ball. Big changes to what Everton kind of need in their game. Gordon scored 2 goals. I'm not sure if you realized he took all the set pieces. They all fucking sucked. Like, we didn't have a single good corner. We had to start doing short corners to Gray to have a mediocre corner that eventually Gray just started taking because Anthony Gordon was that shit. Like, it was like, great. Anthony Gordon ran all over the pitch, and his effort and his, gumption got him 2 goals. But if you really dissected the match, he only gets a above average score because he scored twice. Because outside of that, he didn't do shit.
I had this worry as well about Tom Davies. Same sort of situation, right? They're both boyhood fans at a club. They both came up through the academy. They're both there, and you all have this philosophy, and rightly so. I'm not trying to take it away from you. I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with it. Of the People's Club, it's us against them. It's us against everyone. Blah 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 blah, and that's great. But it does kind of fester in a try too hard mentality.
Oh, absolutely.
You can. We say the sporting people know what we're talking about, right? When he's trying too hard, where you sometimes it's better to back off that player for a second.
Yeah.
Fill this space. He thinks you're going to be on him. He might flick on right to your chest. Now you have possession, right? But if you're right on his ass, you leave that space open. He gets that flick on. Now somebody's clean through. You're trying too hard, and you end up getting in your own way.
Yeah.
To an extent. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of what it felt like with Gordon for large portions of that match. I am happy for him, though.
Oh, yeah.
That he got that second goal. Because for your first fucking goal in professional football, right, in the Premier League at least, I don't know if he scored in the Carabao Cup or not.
He's scored in other competitions, but it's his first Premier League goal. Your
first Premier League goal for the club you've been at since you were, 9 or whatever it was deflected. It's kind of like, nah.
And not just deflected. You know who deflected it? A former Liverpudlian. It was Lallana.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. But for him to then score a legitimate goal, you know what I mean, is brilliant. It's just it's the stuff of dreams, right? And you could see it in his face. I mean, he was over the fucking moon, and that's what this sport's really all about, right? It's it's beautiful. It's fucking amazing, for him to be able to do that. It was unfortunate, the opening really did y'all in. McAllister scored his second goal. It was a great strike from Wepu.
Great strike. Yeah.
But a daft little flick with the inside of his boot. I'm sorry, Wepu didn't hit the ball.
It was McAllister who scored it. Yeah.
To set him up. Yeah, and another worldie.
Yeah. No way Pickford's getting to that ball. It's impossible.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No, he could have long arms and it wouldn't get to that ball.
Yeah, thank you. We need to get things rolling because we've already talked way too much about especially this match because it wasn't particularly very good. Very good from Brighton.
I think you have something to do there, don't you?
Very, very good for Brighton. That definitely has to be noted is that Brighton might be finally figuring this shit out. Now, let's see if they don't have another 2-month slide because they love to have those slides, but they're definitely figuring it out. For me, it's all going to shit, but hey, we bought a left back when we already have a really good left back, and we're apparently bringing in a right back that we offered $5 million for. They said no, so now we offered $10 million for him. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't even start for their fucking team. So, yay, Rafa Ball, it's all fucking fixed. Let's have a shot.
By the way, I just want to throw this in while you're trying to muscle that down.
Yeah.
I think Luca Digne is going to be sold in January, possibly to Newcastle.
Oh, it's already been said he's getting sold. And we've already bought. We introduced him on Sunday. We've already introduced our new left back. He's already been signed. Fucking, because it's for like $24 million. Because that's exactly what we needed to do with a.
Who is it?
Ukrainian player. Starts with an M. Forgive me. I'm not even going to try to do all of the M skis, vitches, and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Okay.
He
Don't alienate our Eastern European lot.
Okay, well, you do that perfectly fine on our fucking transfer recap, my good man.
Yeah, but I'm drunk.
All right, kid, we're running real long. We got to keep this going. Rounding out the rest of the league. And, so that happened. Tottenham 1, Watford 0, Brentford 2, Villa 1, Leeds 3, Burnley 1, Wolverhampton 1, Manchester United 0. Spurs got lucky even though they fucking dominated the entire match.
Yeah, it was rank, this game.
Yeah.
I hated this game. It was terrible. This was not a showcase for anything. It was fucking pitiful, this game. It was great organization from Watford. You could see what their plan was. It was 11 players behind the ball. We're going to pick them off on a counterattack because we have, kind of fast players. Emmanuel Dennis had to come off at halftime, which didn't help. Their best goal scorer, one of the league's best goal scorers, to be honest.
Yeah, number 2.
But also, Watford seemed to have a problem holding focus, and they seemed to have rectified it until a fan had a medical emergency and stopped the game for 7 minutes.
Yeah,
right near the death.
Yeah, and since then, it's all kind of gone wrong.
It was in that 8 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah.
That Tottenham finally scored.
Yep.
And I don't know what the goalkeeper was looking at. He was nowhere near that fucking ball when he came out to claim it. There was also about 7 defenders in the area. Not a single one of them got to the ball. And Davison Sanchez was allowed to head home. Like I said, in the middle of about 14 Watford players. I mean, there was that much fucking yellow. I thought there was like 14 players there. It was ridiculous. And the goalkeeper was nowhere to be fucking found. He was 2 yards to the right of where the ball was. What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Now, the I do want to say, and then we'll move on to the next match. Harry Kane, at least getting opportunities. It looks like it's starting to click, or at least he's starting to care again. I don't know which one it would be, if it's care or if it's starting to click.
I think he just doesn't want to die.
That Conte might actually kill him.
He was asked in an interview once about what they want to do with a certain player after their performance and how bad it was, and he said, "I prefer to kill him."
Very good. And
it's just like, yeah.
And Hugo Lloris getting away with it again. Barely gets a hand on it. It's not a penalty. I'm like, how does if that's a leg in the middle of the field that gets wildly swung, even if it catches a clip of the ball, that's probably called as a foul for swinging to the way it's just wildly moving. And he does that with his hands. He just swings away at a leg, and because he got a little bit of the ball, it was suddenly somehow okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And to wrap this up quickly, I just want to say one thing. This is the second fan medical emergency Tottenham have been involved in this season. We're only halfway through it. No, Tottenham had one at their stadium.
Because Watford Chelsea had their big one there too.
So both teams have had 2 medical emergencies.
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted, for anybody new to the sport, anybody looking for a club to support, if you watch either Watford or Tottenham, apparently you have heart attacks. Don't support them.
Very good, very good. I know you just wanted that to be a Tottenham joke, but I went ahead and made you acknowledge Watford as well. You know, they might have had the early lead, but Villa just looked flat.
They did. It was a textbook goal from Danny Ings. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everything that you're taught at 8 years old. Go across the goalkeeper, far post. It was brilliant. Nice to see Bertrand Traore back. That's positive for Villa. And he played very well, actually, I thought.
Yeah.
One of their standout performers. But
yeah, he got subbed in last week, and he's going to be very key for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they did look a bit flat. Dia did well to find Ings, in that play. He made himself available. He moved the ball well. His movement was good. Both of his passes were good. He turned in the middle of the field with a nice bit of skill to get away from his defender. And then Rorslev. This was the first of, I think, 3 two-try goals.
Right.
Where hit, save, came back to him, hit it again.
Yeah.
Goal. Which is pretty funny. And Wisa was I love his little meditation celebration.
Yeah.
I have a lot of time for that. That's brilliant. I have a lot of time
the
for
meditation one, huh?
That was
Yeah.
that was a great goal. I went up to Sam and I was like, I believe that is what Graham would call a cracker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean he had a lot to do when he received that ball from Rorslev. It was great. I've never even heard of Rorslev. Fucking goal and assist. Look at this guy, killing it right now.
It was.
It was a good game, but yeah, Villa definitely looked flat from what they're normally, the normal energy they bring to a game. They just didn't have it.
Acted hungover, disjointed, sloppy. And then we've got all those yellow cards hanging over our head. McGinn didn't play that. Mings didn't play in that one. Matty Cash still has 4 cards. McGinn got his 5th card, so he won't be playing the next time. So I guess I'm just happy that McGinn and Cash didn't get them at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what's good too, because after this round of games, they wash. They wash your record.
Yeah, so it's like you go into the new year.
Now Matty Cash
boom.
goes back to 0 cards.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, that's great.
So John McGinn, as a jackass, got a yellow in this game.
Right.
And now will miss the next one because his record wasn't washed yet.
Son of a bitch.
All right, Mel. Well, it looks like you have something to do. I gave us the curse of death last week by saying it was a no Malort show because none of us played.
Yeah.
We all played. We are all doing Malort.
The universe caught up with us again. So, up the Villa. It was a lazy fucking effort. Cheers.
I call it the Stuart Atwell hangover.
You heard Stuart Atwell.
Oh, God. It's especially terrible this week.
Heard. Leeds desperately needed those points. Oh my God, did Leeds need those points?
Big time. It's a shame Maxwell Cornet is going off to the African Cup of Nations for Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to miss him desperately. What a free kick. I just want to get that out of the way. What a fucking free kick that was.
I will say one thing about the free kick. Great for him to bend it around the wall and put it in on that near post. Shame on you fucking Leeds, because the one place you should never get beat is the wall should have the fucking post covered and the keeper should be able to get to it. So, that is just massively wrong by them.
They did. That ball was outside of the post when it passed the wall and curled in that quickly. It was a brilliant strike, and there's nothing you can take away from him for that. It was absolutely fantastic. It was Roberto Carlo-esque. The outside of his left boot from the right side, around the wall, outside of the post, and dink right in. Oh, gorgeous. It was fucking gorgeous. I got a lot of time for that.
They just get him back. They just get him back from injury. And now he's off to AFCON. And at the worst possible time, because even with games in hand, and, for me, I'm still worried about Burnley and I'm still worried about Watford. I feel like the team that's going to jump both of them is Newcastle. Because also Newcastle is going to buy whatever they need to fix it. They about to go fucking get it right now.
Well, that's it. They're linked with Aubameyang on loan. They're linked with buying Kieran Trippier. They're linked with a fair few very high-profile players, probably above Eddie Howe's pay grade, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And whether he can put it all together, I don't know. Some of these players may just, hey, I'm gonna go get a payday and fucking I don't give a shit. And that's a worry also in this window. If they don't care, you can't make them care.
Right. True.
Right.
But
so,
also,
especially somebody like Kieran Trippier, who's turning 32 this year. And the way in which he plays, he's not going to be able to keep that up.
Yeah. But I think you also couple that with the fact that Eddie Howe now obviously didn't get to play this weekend, but he's starting to get that team to pay attention. So I think maybe the couple of right pieces might. I feel like there's no reason why that team should survive relegation, but I feel like they're going to.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't disagree with that. It's just a matter of whether or not he can get them on side is the key, right? Because it could very well be a fucking retirement plan for a lot of these players.
Hey, we got to stop talking about the team.
At 32 could be, signing a 4-year fucking deal for $500,000 a week.
Right. We got to stop talking about the team that didn't actually play. For Burnley, what Burnley desperately needed was one of those patented "we're gonna Burnley you" fucking draws, and they didn't get it. And Leeds got exactly what they needed, which was the fucking points.
Jack Harrison had the second two-time goal as well. Wayne Hennessy did really well in a lot of instances, which is difficult for him. But Stuart Dallas,
doing what Stuart Dallas does when they need that
What a
goal.
strike.
He's the one who gets it. He
What a
seems to be
fucking
that
strike.
guy. It's the weirdest thing. Whenever they desperately need something, it always seems to be his name that's getting called when they desperately need it.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. And then Wayne Hennessy with a very weak mitt on Dan James's header into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a comical fucking goal.
That should have been
the
a
way
save.
that looped up into the it was pitiful. That's on a fucking blooper reel. Well,
that's also the other big thing that's killing Burnley right now is you don't have fucking Pope. Like that.
Right.
That's game could be a lot closer if that's Nick Pope in the net. It really could be.
100%.
This next game, I want to give the credit and I want to talk about the team that deserves to be talked about, which is Wolverhampton, which is funny because they bring in Bruno Lage to kind of make this a more offensive side, and they're beating everybody 1-0, man. They can't. We've talked about their struggles to score at the start of the season, but they're just figuring out a way. Ain't nobody scoring on them. A little bit of that Nuno still in this side. But it's a team full of players that are clearly playing for the manager. They like what Lage is doing, and you can tell, you can see it in the way they're playing on the pitch. They're playing for their boss.
Yeah, so not necessarily in the same way that y'all tend to play for the shirt rather than the boss.
Right.
But I see a lot of traditional Everton values in this Wolves team.
I get you that, yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with we've spoken in excess about George Mendes and the super agent kind of control over who comes in and out of this club and what that ownership has done, kind of sold their soul to the super agent, if you will. But the community embraced them, right? There was 5 or 6 different Portuguese cafes that popped up. There was all these things to make these players feel welcome. And the only thing that I've seen similar to this is at Shakhtar Donetsk with an entire Brazilian community in this weird Ukrainian city, right? They're very famous for being the stepping stone for Brazilians in Europe to an extent. And famously, Fernandinho got his start in Europe at Shakhtar. So it's just very interesting to see how they've got the communities and Wolves, the players themselves seem to be embracing the community back and playing for the shirt. And they happen to like Nuno before and now Bruno Lage. And they're giving it 110, 115% every fucking game. They're playing beyond themselves.
Yeah, and then someone like Coutinho, who everybody's saying, hey, he's over it, he's too old, and then he goes and gets you this goal at Old Trafford.
Now, granted, it was a bit of a scuff shot, to be honest.
Yeah, but still finds a way to get that goal at Old Trafford against Man United to win 1-0. Like,
absolutely.
In the game that classically goes Man U's way every single time.
Man U were so poor in this game again.
Horrid.
Fucking, they only had 2 shots on target to Wolves' 6. Wolves rained down 19 fucking shots overall.
Mm-hmm.
United only had 9.
Yep.
It's just absolutely fucking pitiful. I don't know what's going on. The Wreck-It Ralph meme is probably the hottest fire that was shared over the weekend on the DUFC closed group. It's Drunkards United FC on Facebook. Find it. It's where all the banter happens. All the best memes get shared. Our boy Jeet gets it done. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Well, that one was a Taylor. I think the Wreck-It Ralph one was.
Could be. Yeah. Taylor also makes some phenomenal Photoshops.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. I'd like to leave us on this thought, and this doesn't get a response, Sam. We're ending it on this. Everybody blame Moyes. Everybody blame Van Gaal. Everybody blamed Mourinho. Okay, well, it was Mourinho's fault. Everybody blamed Ole. Now everybody's already wanting to blame Ralph. At some point of time, I have said this now for 4 seasons. The players have to be held accountable. This is a franchise that can buy anyone they want and is supposed to be one of the greatest clubs in the world. And they have assembled a team that is good enough, that is absolutely good enough to play for the title. If every single time you keep going, it's the boss, it's the boss, it's the boss. At some point in time, it has to be the player's fucking fault. Plain and simple. And right now, it's the fucking player's fault.
Sure money.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the segment where we make bets to help better inform you to make solid choices in your financial future with betting on the English Premier League. I lost again, and I'll just get this out now. We're not making bets this week because it's the FA Cup. We don't bet on the FA Cup. We only bet on the Premier League. So betting is now suspended until we meet up again next Monday.
Yep.
Okay. So I lost, and I'm now down 207 instead of 107, which is fucking annoying. Sam, I'll get to you just 1 second because I got the text from Pat here. He first texted me. I said, "What are you down to? We're recording late, and there's no bets this week." He said, "Shit, you're recording, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, but we're late, no problems." And he goes, "I'll double check, but I think it's 575." I said, "Okay, cool." He responded, "Nope, it's actually 690."
Oh shit!
There we go.
Which
That a
is
boy.
brilliant. Yeah, so he's fucking down as well, big time. He lost. He bet the same as you did with Liverpool, and he did it for 200. So he's fucked. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm down 307, not 207. My bad. And then what do you got going on there, big fella?
You know what? Liverpool lost. I'm loving the bit. For the couple losers, I have as long as Liverpool keeps losing points, I'm fine. Big fucking smiley face with that. So we're going to go ahead and keep with that right there. As Mel takes a lovely little photo of us and then also has to be ready for the sound drop because I am now down $1,545, Sam.
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
Mr. Graham, this is very important. 9.09090909090909% of the time, it works 100% of the time. Thank God I don't have to fucking bet this week.
It's absolutely terrible.
All right, Mel, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the fucking chicken?
Do I have to play the music?
No, you can just go ahead and tell us about the chicken.
Thank God. So Kitty's match was one of the few postponed, and she sits at 10-7. And Kitty is laying off the FA Cup this weekend. She'll be back to bet next week. And they got a couple of renovation projects up there at the coop because we've had a lot of snow, caused a lot of problems. So I think they're just going to work on that. I got a text from her that they've got contractors coming in. But her second message said, "Hey, Big Sam,
Yeah.
please remember to tell everybody to gamble legally and responsibly."
Championship corner!
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh no!
So how many matches
All right,
did we
so-
actually have this time?
I'm not exactly positive just yet. Let's see. Saturday the 1st. We had one go off. Blackpool beat Hull 1-0. I'm sure that was a fucking barn burner. On Sunday, actually, all 4 matches on Sunday went off, so that was good. Bristol City beat Millwall 3-2. QPR 2-1 over Birmingham. Blackburn and Huddersfield, again, I'm sure it was a barn burner, 0-0 in that one there. And West Brom and Cardiff 1-1. Glad I didn't bet it because they fucked me with that before.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, only 2 out of the 5 went on, and that was Reading and Derby on a 2-2 draw, and Preston over Stoke 2-1 away from home as well.
Another point for Derby. Another point for fucking Derby.
Yep. So that leaves us going into the FA Cup third round with Bournemouth tops on 49 points, Blackburn in second on 46 points. I'm sorry, both of them have played 25 games. Fulham are on 45 points, but they have 2 games in hand over those in front of them.
Right.
If they win those, they'll be 2 points clear at the top. West Brom on 25 points as well. 25 games, 42 points. I apologize. QPR, 24 games, 41 points in 5th place. You have Huddersfield on 26 games on 40 points, rounding out the playoff places at the moment. Middlesbrough is in 7th on 25 games, 39 points. And Stoke is in 8th on 24 games with 35 points. So
a lot of games in
Huddersfield
hand.
could very quickly find themselves not in the playoff places anymore.
Right.
If these clubs decide to win their games in hand. You then go down to the bottom of the table, as we like to do a check-in. Derby are only 3 points from being off of the bottom of the table.
Wow.
That being said, Barnsley do have a game in hand, but Barnsley are shit.
Yeah, Barnsley are terrible this year.
So they don't have a point deduction, and they're only 3 points in front of Derby.
One thing worth mentioning here, Mr. Graham, and then we'll go ahead and wrap everything up. West Brom, I'm not sure if you saw the news, making a big signing. One Mr. Daryl Dike on a permanent from Orlando City. The gentleman who did so great with Barnsley last year is now on a permanent at West Brom for the next four seasons, at least. I mean, obviously, if he scores 20 goals, he's going to get signed by somebody bigger pretty quickly. But Daryl Dike playing in England again.
There you go. That's what's up. Phil Neville working his magic again.
Yep, absolutely. That's going to wrap
You
it up.
said Miami or Orlando?
He was with Orlando FC. Was who he?
Oh,
was
never
who
mind.
DK was with.
Phil Neville had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, Neville was in Miami. Yeah, it's. When
I hear MLS Florida, I immediately Phil Neville tunnel vision.
Yeah, I heard. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you? Because remember, we met Phil Neville, and he was a charming fellow. It was like, "Hi, how you doing?" Like
That's
daggers,
one way to put it. Yeah,
daggers being stared at you. Oh, anywho, Sam, that's gonna wrap it up, buddy. You got any parting words?
not really. There was no real countriness that I saw this weekend. What I do want to say though is coming up this weekend is the FA Cup third round. It is the best weekend of English football that you can find. And we're going to tell you why on our Patreon show, which you can find at patreon.com/DUfootballshow. It's called Injury Time. This week is a preview of the FA Cup third round. It is my favorite fucking weekend of the English League season. You get David versus Goliath. You get Premier League clubs that hate each other. You get championship clubs that got relegated because of some Premier League clubs last season coming up against each other. I am not a fan of pay-to-play watching soccer, but spend the $5 for the weekend and get ESPN Plus.
It's pretty great.
They show
it's pretty fucking great.
Pretty much every game. You can stream whatever you want, really, from this round. It is fucking amazing. It is so much fun. It's what football's all about. It's the oldest knockout competition in the world, and it's bloody awesome. and it's fucking back, baby. Here we go.
I have a
I
feeling.
got so excited I knocked my camera over.
I have a feeling all of the lower leagues weren't playing games specifically to make sure that they were healthy to play their fucking FA Cup
To play
matches.
this weekend, yeah.
I have a feeling
be.
that's why so many games got postponed, because they definitely wanted them to do their FA Cup match. But yep, that's up next. We're going to go ahead and do injury time. We're talking about the beers we've been drinking, and we're going to preview the entire third round of the FA Cup. And Sam already told you how to find it, boys and girls, so check us out there. Please go to the Drip Shack, and hope y'all enjoyed our first little foray in live streaming tonight with all kinds of effects and stuff. Producer Mel, hell of a job in this thing.
Why, thank you very much.
All right. Till next week, everybody.
She pushed the buttons really good today.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. Right day, the fucking Gooner Graham. Smell the Malort. Looks great in shorts. Sam Grammy.
Sam Graham.
United!